back again to Trauma Healing Podcast. And previously we talked about what is a wound of the heart and what is trauma. And today we will talk about what can help our wounds heal. So welcome Gladys and welcome Pastor Jeremy.
Thank you.
So Pastor Jeremy, what can help our wounds heal?
Well, a good question, Joy.
Yeah.
Because indeed, as we said previously, the reason why we are doing this is so that we can know there is hope.
Yeah.
And healing for our wounded heart is available. So what can help?
What can help?
Our heart heal. Number one, it's important, first of all, to appreciate and accept that I need that healing. You know, you cannot go for what you feel you don't need.
Yeah.
So it's important for someone, first of all, to appreciate that they need that healing. After now getting to appreciate that I went through this painful experience,
True.
it left me wounded, and now I need help. I need to heal from this pain.
Mm-hmm.
So first and foremost, accepting that I need help.
Yeah.
I need to heal.
So
That really
after
will help.
So you accept first.
First you have to, because there's no way I'll go to look for what I think I don't need.
Yeah.
So I must get to that point where I feel I need the help that is available, because that acceptance will help me now find healing. It will help me now get what I need so as to be restored.
I'm trying to think about the people who don't know they have trauma. So how can they be helped?
Well, first of all, like now we are creating awareness, which is very key and very helpful. When we let people know that if you've been behaving in the ways we talked about, they find themselves reliving their experience, they avoid reminders, and they are always on alert.
Yeah.
If they realize they are there, they gain that honest understanding that I went through this, and this is why I've been behaving the way I have been behaving, and therefore I need to find help so that I can be healed, restored, and live a normal life.
So Gladys, what can help our wounds heal?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question, Joy. As Reverend Jeremy has said, after you have accepted, or to say it in a simpler way, when you go to a doctor, when they want to rule out a problem, they first take you to the tests, the laboratory. It is good to just join a trauma healing program so that you can see, do I have a heart wound? And one of the things that we saw on the last session is that God is the one who heals the brokenhearted and bandages our wounds. And we saw, as in the case of Jesus, as what Paul has spoken about in Galatians 6 verse 2, that it is good to talk to somebody. And when you talk to somebody, it is a way of expressing that pain or something that we referred to earlier as processing. And that pain must come out so that you can be healed. Some people prefer to talk to someone before they can take the pain to God. And talking, as we shall be talking about it, is the best way to have your heart wound healed.
So what happens when you share your story, when you process that pain while telling people? What really happens to you as a person?
Number one, Joy, you gain an honest understanding of what happened to you. You get to, get to a point where you can now clearly tell, I'm feeling the way I'm feeling because I went through this. Maybe I went through loss, probably I went through domestic abuse, rape, suicide, maybe I lost a friend, a son, a loved one through that. You gain an honest understanding when you are able to talk about your pain. That's the first benefit I can cite.
Yeah.
Gaining an honest understanding that this is what happened to me.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I agree. And Gladys, is there any other benefit to sharing a story?
Yes. In addition to what he has said about gaining an honest understanding means that everything just got mixed up when something happened to you that has caused that hurtful. So when you have an honest understanding, you also start understanding how what happened to you affected you. Why you are feeling what you are feeling is because this thing happened to me. And when you are able to understand that, you are able now to take that pain to God, so that you can now begin trusting God. We said earlier that when something painful happens to you, you are disconnected also with God. You cannot trust Him anymore. Actually, you are so angry with Him. So when you start talking to somebody, as the Bible tells us that where 2 or 3 are gathered in His name, He's in the midst of them. You get to understand and you get to start now trusting God for healing. And we find that in Psalm 62 verse 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about if you don't have someone to talk to? Like, I can imagine it's the same people you trust are the ones who caused you trauma. So what do you do when you don't have anyone to talk to? Pastor Jeremy?
Well, let me say, Joy, that first of all, it's an unfortunate space to be in where you have no one to talk to. But let me say that, like now here in Kenya, we got quite a number of people, a pool of trauma healers, or if I may call them facilitators of healing groups, who are trained to listen, to be good listeners. They know, where do I start from? What questions am I going to ask? So if you are there and probably you are in the space that Joy is talking about, you feel like you have no one to talk to, please reach out. Bible Society of Kenya is available, and yes, you will find competent people who will listen to you and help you process the pain and find healing.
Oh, thank you, Percy. And you've talked about healing in terms of listening, and I'm thinking, who's a good listener?
Wow, a good listener has got quite a number of qualities.
Yeah. Is it the way shape people, or just explain it to us so that we understand? Is it the people who will tell you, you know what, I lost my job, and then they're like, hey, at least you have a home. There are people like that.
Still alive.
Yeah, you're still alive. At least you have shelter.
Yeah.
Or maybe your child is not performing, and you're like, at least he's not number last, He's somewhere there. So explain to us, who's this good listener?
Wow, thank you, Joy. I like the way you have put it. A good listener definitely is not what you have done. A good listener, number one, is caring.
Oh, yeah.
They demonstrate that attitude, and they also provide that atmosphere that would make you and me feel that this person cares. They care to listen, and they care to pay attention.
Yeah.
And they are not, I'm not a burden to them. They feel that that I am there, and they are able to help me find healing. So one outstanding quality of a good listener is that they are caring.
They are caring.
Yeah.
And Gladys, what do you think of a good listener?
Yeah, of course, as Reverend Jeremy said, it's not any of the ones that you say. It is somebody who creates a safe space.
Oh, true, yeah.
To listen to the person who is suffering. And in addition to the qualities Reverend Jeremy has said, we can also say that there are people who will not gossip about what you tell them. And I like sharing an example of a story that I experienced myself when I lost massively in my life, and I went and shared with somebody whom I trusted. And the following Sunday, was the theme of the sermon, and I happened to have sat somewhere in the middle of the church, so I couldn't walk away.
It's quite unfortunate.
And I just had to persevere that. So it's somebody who will not gossip about it. In fact, the Bible prohibits gossiping. In addition to that, it's somebody who will not minimize some of the items that you give examples of, like at least they are not the last one, at least you have a home, at least you are alive. You know, somebody who doesn't minimize my problem and show me like my problem is nothing. Everybody's problem is a problem to the person. All feelings are valid. So somebody who validates my feelings and make me feel heard at the scene. That is what it means to be creating a safe space.
A safe space.
And in addition to creating a safe space, it's somebody who asks powerful questions.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these questions is the first question you ask is what happened? Instead of asking what's wrong with you, ask the person what happened, so that the person can start telling their story from the facts and the timelines of what happened to their story. And that way they will gain, as we said before, an honest understanding of what happened to them.
Yeah, I think we always ask the wrong question. Like, what is wrong with you? You know, like Pastor Jeremy just changed the questions we just ask all the time. Maybe our parents, for the young people, like your parent will just find you at home, everything is messy, and then they come back. You haven't done anything the whole day. So how do we? The next question will be, what happened? You know, what happened, instead of what is wrong with you? No one even cares. Are you okay? Yeah, they're not even saying hi. You know. So, what will be the other question, Percy?
Yeah. In addition to what Gladys has shared, actually, in the world of trauma healing, we cite 3 questions. The first one is what Gladys has shared. What happened? You ask what happened. Number 2 is how did it make you feel? That which you experienced. What feelings came with it? Then the last question, number 3, is what was the hardest part for you? You see, this person is able now to tell their story.
Yeah.
Because we said that a good listener shows that they are listening. They are there, they are present, they are paying attention, they show that they care, and they are not minimizing your pain. And therefore, they will ask you the right questions. So tell me what happened. How did it make you feel? What was the hardest part for you?
And should you emphasize with the person or sympathize with them, Gladys?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sympathizing. Sympathizing, it's like I have found you in problems. Maybe you have fallen into a ditch. Let me not call it a toilet, and you are down there. And then I come and say, oh, you are there. Let me come and join you there. It's a bad place, but let's sit here. But empathizing, which is what is recommended to help the person, is I find you there. I find a way of getting you out of there, getting you to stand on level ground, and then you can be able to walk away from your problem. And in that question that Reverend Jeremy has mentioned about what was the hardest part for you, that question really helps people to name their own problem.
Like give it like a name to it.
Yes, so that you as the listener do not have the burden of knowing what is the problem of this person. You don't have that burden. So listening becomes easy because it's the person who is going to tell you what is really hurting this person. And when you're asking them how did you feel? How did it make you feel? How it's helping that person is because healing starts happening at the level of emotions, at the level of the heart. We mentioned earlier that 65% of people who are in medical facilities, they do not have a medical condition. So this 65%, if you handle their heartwood, they'll be healed. They will not need to take medicine, because even if you take a lot of medicine, so long as you have not healed the heart, the problem will still be there with you. So those are the important questions, and as Reverend Jeremy has also mentioned about, I should show you that I'm listening.
Yeah.
I should not be on my phone. I should not be fidgeting. I should not be thinking about something else. I should not be listening to respond.
Yeah.
I should be listening to understand. Did you know that people start healing when they feel understood? And you cannot understand me if I'm telling you my story when you are listening to say, just that. Yeah, even me, I experienced something like that. Comparing your situation with mine. That way, I know that you haven't understood me. You haven't gotten to the core of my problem. So just getting somebody who is actively listening to me. If I go on a very soft voice that you can't hear when you are distant, you lean forward occasionally to listen to me, and then you keep your eye contact on me so that I can know you are listening to me. And then you keep on nodding the way you are doing to show me that you are listening. You don't stay there like a steel metal and you're not listening to me. And eventually, somebody who listens and they respect the healing process. Don't listen to me and they get tired of me and you just shout at me. Snap out of it. You give me time. And you know that every single day that you listen to me, some people may need to tell their story more than 4 times. And I always tell people an example of a girl I had to listen to after she lost her husband. 3 of the times that I listened to her, she didn't tell me the story. She would tell me at the end of the story, break down. I give her time and I tell her we shall continue next time. And she was traveling all day from Northeastern to come and tell me the story. And then I wait for the next week. She would come again, tell me the story, and now go a bit further and then break down again. She did that 3 times, but on the 4th time she was able to tell her story. And she's now a completely transformed person, a healed person. What if the second time I got tired and they said, she's wasting my time? It would have left her just there in the pits of darkness and very sick. So it's important to remember those 4 things. Creating a safe space. Don't go under the tree to help somebody or shout at somebody in the bus stop or in a hotel. Or in the church at the pulpit there, you tell somebody, I remember your problem, the problem that you told me about. Your husband is going to come back. And you are not helping the person, you are putting shame to this person who is hurting, asking powerful questions or right questions, which are what happened to you, how did it make you feel, and what was the hardest part for you. Also, show actively that you are listening. Keep nodding, and finally respect the healing process.
And Pastor Jeremy, should you cry with the person? Because there are people who can share their story and you also become emotional and you feel like, I'm going to cry with this person. So should you cry with the person, or you tell them, wait, hold on, I'm coming, and then you go, you cry somewhere and then you come back. So what should you do?
Well, one should not cry when the other person is crying. Gladys has rightly differentiated between sympathy and empathy. If I cry with this person, I'll be sympathizing. But if I empathize with this person, I'll do the best I can, try to fit in their shoes, respect their feelings without judging them or minimizing them. And I'll be present. Not that I have no feelings. And not that I'm not even emotionally being moved, because I'm also human. But because I've been trained, I know the skills of empathizing. I'll not join them in the crying. If anything, I'll not discourage them. I'll not stop them from crying. I'll give them, I'll actually let them know what they are doing is right. It's not that they are doing a wrong thing to cry, to break down. If I got some towels, some serviette, I can pass and let them know what you're doing is right.
And what are the signs that someone needs additional help?
Yeah, Joy, they are serious cases.
Yeah.
And it's always important for us to admit to ourselves that there are cases that probably we may not be having the capacity, the competency to handle. And we should always be quick to refer serious cases. And one way one can tell that a case is serious is, for example, in the behavior.
Yeah. Someone's
behavior when it is incoherent. Maybe I'm speaking, but then I'm not consistent. The story I'm telling you is not flowing.
It's like you have one story and another story, all together.
Yeah, I'm not telling you one story. I'm telling you a number of stories. And like, as I'm doing that, I'm not even able to tell that I'm not being consistent. But you now, who is listening to me, you can tell, I think something is not right.
Yeah.
And serious cases is whereby maybe someone displays mental health signs. Someone who is mentally totally disturbed. Their mind is not together, and they are not okay, so to speak.
Yeah.
Probably, if I would say, quote unquote, they seem to have lost their mind. You know? Such a person is a serious case that will need further attention. If someone gets violent, if someone gets violent and they get really agitated, that they want to fight, they want to hurt, then that's a serious case, which probably the one listening may not be competent enough, or probably the space they are in may not be the right one to handle such a person.
Gladys, I'm thinking there are people who are suicidal, and you can hear from how they're talking. Like someone is saying, "You'll never see me again." There's a way they speak, and you can tell this person is suicidal. Or maybe they say, I'll leave that home, and then I leave them alone. But if you're not keen as a listener, it will eventually lead this person to become suicidal. So how can we have such a person?
Thank you, Joy. I just want to add to what Reverend Jeremy has said, that if somebody, by the way, let me start by saying that trauma healers, we don't claim to be counselors. We are listeners. And so the cases that we are calling serious, like somebody becoming suicidal, are cases now that need to be handled by a competent counselor, and somebody who can be able to help this person know that a mental health issue is just like a physical wound that needs also to be taken to a doctor. For the suicidal person, the first thing is that when you notice the signs, you don't feel challenged not to ask that question directly, so that you can ask them, have you thought of terminating your life?
Oh, it's right to ask such a question.
Yeah, it's right to ask that question, so that you can see how serious this person is. And if the person is serious, there are some training that we also offer in trauma healing, so that you can be able to handle that person, so that it doesn't go to the worst case scenario of that person committing suicide. And I want to add, besides now somebody harming themselves, like in suicide, there are other things that will make you know that this one is beyond listening. You don't just listen. If somebody is not able to accomplish their day-to-day activities, they don't wake up in the morning, they just want to continue sleeping, they are not eating, they are not bathing, they are dirty.
If you were tidy, you just become untidy.
Yeah, they're just deteriorating. That is a person who needs serious treatment through a professional counselor or a psychiatrist, so that they can be helped to return to their normalcy. And also another thing that will help you know that this person is not okay is if person has lost perception, as Reverend Jeremy has said. What does it mean to lose perception? During COVID, I remember we used to tell people that it's okay to talk to your plates, to your tables, to your spoons, to your cat, and to your chicken, it is all okay. The problem will come when they answer you. If they respond to you, now you need to see a psychiatrist. Because now you have seen things that are not real as though they are real.
Oh, is that not hallucination, Gladys?
Exactly. You are seeing things that are not real as though they are real. Now you need to see a psychiatrist. You need to refer, if you are trauma healer listening to such a person who is talking about unreal things as though they are real, you send them to a psychologist or to a doctor. If there is no psychologist allowed or psychiatrist, you can send them to a nurse. A nurse will help them to calm down. And it is important to notice those things so that you are not afraid of listening to people.
True.
Somebody who is self-harming, somebody who is not able to do their usual tasks, their daily tasks, their basic requirements. And there's somebody also who is just not able to control their emotions. You just ask them, how are you? And somebody just starts crying. If they are not able to control their emotions, know that one also needs psychological help or a nurse if there is no psychologist that is near.
Thank you, Gladys. Pastor Jeremy, just one last question. How can we express our pain?
How can we express our pain?
Like in another way.
There are many other ways that we can express our pain. We have been talking about talking.
Apart from talking.
But there are other ways. In trauma healing, there is what we call art expression, whereby I can actually draw and talk about my pain through a drawing. It is possible, and especially when we are helping children, they may not be able to put their pain into words or to name their feelings, to say this is our feeling. So we always encourage children to draw. Like you ask the question we talked about, do you mind drawing what happened? And we have seen children respond in an amazing way. A child, like I remember one who went through war, they drew the houses on fire, they drew soldiers with guns shooting people, they drew others who were lying, dead on the ground, and others had blood oozing out, and they drew themselves running away. So that's another way where one can be allowed to express themselves. We even still talking about art expression, one can model. They can model using maybe plasticine, clay. They can model their feelings. They do a model expressing how they are feeling.
Oh, and Gladys, what else? How else can we express?
Yeah, for sure. Those are good
ones. Because I'm thinking, should I put on loud music and dance along to it? As long as I'm having fun and I can express my emotions.
Yes, absolutely.
I can,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, put music, start dancing. You can also hum along with the song if you don't know how to. If you don't know the song, there are no lyrics, whatever, just hum along with the person. And one of the most useful ways that is recommended for people who don't have someone to share with is that you can also tell the paper. Get a piece of paper and write that story. Write that story. Nobody is going to see that. The paper is not going to betray you. It's not going to tell anybody else. And as you write the story, as you make it visual, you start understanding, getting an honest understanding of what happened to you. And you can ask yourself, what am I feeling now? After I've put the story right there on paper. Actually, many writers call it bleeding on paper. Just bleed on paper. And then your pain will go and you get healed. And there are many others that you can do. You can do a breathing exercise. And always remember, all these other ways of expressing pain is like the way if you have a headache, you take Panadol. It's a first aid. It's a psychological or mental health first aid. Remember, you still need to see a counselor
Yeah.
to help you to develop good coping mechanisms so that when these problems come again, you'll be able to overcome it.
Yeah.
And as we said earlier on, you also be able to continue reading the Word of God, meditating upon the Word of God, so that when troubles come, you can review God's faithfulness in the past, and you can be able to grow.
True. So, Pastor Jeremy, share your final remarks.
Well, number one, I really want to thank God for this opportunity to reach out and create awareness. And thank you for choosing to listen in. And we hope and trust that you have benefited and you will also help others, kind of come, recommend this, share with us and let them know that we are here. I also want to say that life happens. We go through stuff that leaves our heart wounded, but that's not the end. Help is available. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And don't die alone and in silence. Reach out. Help is available. Thank you.
Thank you. Gladys.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, viewer, for having been with us as we showed you that there is restoration of hope in the Word of God. And I'm challenging you to try each of the skills that we have shown you. You can talk to someone. You can listen to someone using those 3 listening questions. You can also draw what is disturbing you. You can write it down. You can start even reading the Word of God so that you can see what are the people in the Bible that you are reading about. What were they feeling? And also listen to your body. Scan your body at the feel. What are you feeling as you read the Word of God? May you find healing as you continue doing practice of what we have given you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have come to the end of our episode for Trauma Healing Podcast. And remember to like, share, and subscribe in all our social media platforms at Bible Society of Kenya. See you next time. Bye.